on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Viall Files Update Special Edition for Classic, y'all. We love bringing you these updates, and we got some good ones, some returning updates, some OGs, some fresh updates. Super excited to bring it to you all. As a friendly reminder, I know I'm going to say it, but we know you guys love these updates. Every time we drop it once a month, hundreds of thousands of people are listening to them. So I know you guys are thirsting for more. You're itching for more. So check out the updates that we have. I think we have 15 or 16, maybe even 17 update specials behind Viall Files Plus. So many juicy updates that you are missing out on. So just check it out. Do yourself a favor. Treat yourself this holiday season to Viall Files Plus. It's free to sign up. Try it for 7 days. Hell, you can binge a bunch of update specials in 7 days. So give it a try. Just go to viallfiles.com to sign up, and away you will go. We also are recapping Vanderpump on Viall Files Plus. I think we're just wrapping up season 2. And every week, Pop Extra, all the juicy pop culture topics we didn't get to all week long. So, all right, enough of that. Amanda, how are you? It's a single household.
Yeah.
Today.
It's a skeleton crew.
Everyone else is editing, doing busy work. We're doing so many things, so we're
grinding hard for you guys.
We're grinding hard.
The team
so
never stops.
Amanda and I hope you had a very happy Thanksgiving wherever you spent that time, whether it was with family or alone. I hope it was enjoyable.
Oh my God, I'm thinking about Meatball Gate.
Meatball Gate. Yeah.
I'm reminiscing. It's been 2 years since Meatball Gate. That makes me feel old. Like when you see like childhood actors or like the Home Alone guy, like Macaulay Culkin, and then it's like, feel old yet? And it's like, Meatball Gate was 2 years ago. Feel old yet?
Yeah. No, I know. I feel, yeah. Well, and unfortunately, Nellie's grandma passed. Good news is I won't be able to offend her with my meatballs anymore. A little morbid.
Do you think there's are there any Thanksgiving sides that you might be opening your heart and mind to? No? Okay.
No. Anyway, yeah, we're recording this ahead of Thanksgiving. So,
yeah, so
I am looking forward to going down there with Natalie and her family and having a little celebration of life for
absolutely
her grandmother. It's going to be a nice little occasion. Are you going home?
I'm not going home for Thanksgiving. Because I had a family wedding that was like a few, so it just felt like too much. And I wanted to make sure if there was someone who needed to hold down the fort. But when I was home, so my dad, I find it just so endearing. He makes fresh cranberry sauce every year and it's like very good, like pears and apples. It's very well spiced, and he jars it himself at home. And I remember when I was a kid, he would always like send me to school with cranberry sauce the Wednesday before Thanksgiving to give to like all my teachers and whatnot. And as an adult, I am marveling at like what a good little gift it is, because I saw my boyfriend's mom while I was in Boston because she lives there. And it was like the perfect little something where it's like, it's not too over the top as a gift, but it is like very heartfelt and thoughtful. So now I'm having a little crisis about maybe I need to get.
What are you going to do?
What?
For Thanksgiving. Do you have plans? Are you going to hang out with Nick?
I think I'm going to hang out with Nick. That's the plan.
Okay.
And I think he has a friend. He has a really good friend from home who's in town who might be with his sister. So it might be like kind of a Friendsgiving-y affair. I've started going to an Al-Anon meeting, which has been really good. Okay. And they're doing something on the morning of Thanksgiving, which is so smart because I think holidays are
that makes sense.
Such a time to be like affected by that.
Family. Yeah. Do you put up Christmas decorations yet? Is that too soon for you? When do you put up Christmas stuff? Or do you I don't know. Maybe there was definitely a stage of my life where as a single guy, it just wasn't on my radar.
Yeah. I think because right now it's like some Jewish girlies. I think we're not.
And do you celebrate Christmas?
Yeah, I do. Because my dad's like,
Christian.
Irish Catholic and, not religious, but culturally, I guess.
Sure.
And so my grandmother always has a really beautiful Christmas tree. So that's the real question. Does Grandma Jean have her Christmas tree up by now? And also, did she try to do it herself? This is a huge issue in my family, is that my adorable, sweetheart, arthritic, 5'1" grandma will try to like haul up this tree and like put it up on the table herself. And every year we're like, Grandma, don't do it. And I'm pretty sure there was one year where she fell and was trapped under the tree. And so my uncle found her and was like, oh my God.
Oh God.
And God bless her.
Fake tree?
Yeah, it's a fake tree, which,
Poor Gam Gam.
Poor grandma.
I know you guys are tuning in for some updates, so we have a written update before we get to our callers, and it's a good one.
We sure do. This is from Ava, who called in on episode 652. This was our interview with Heather Dubrow. And
texting office hour?
Yeah. Yes, a texting office hour caller who was debating tattling on her boyfriend to his mom because he cheated on her, and she wanted to get him off the lease. Although it became kind of clear throughout the call that like she didn't really need to. She could get him off the lease basically, and like
she was. It was like, how petty do you want to be?
Absolutely.
And I feel like our advice was to just let it go.
Well, it was so funny because when she was really wanting to say something, your advice at first was, if you're going to tell her, you better say the details of what you found. Because there was some daddy calling. There was some really unforgettable infractions there.
Some unforgettable highlights.
Yeah. And so, but then we kind of got to the point of being like, probably not the most productive. So Ava says, I'm doing much better. When I called, I felt like I was already well on my way to moving on. But there was this lingering desire to make sure that before I did, he was going to hurt in some way. That sounds so evil when I write it down. The advice y'all gave me was maybe not what I wanted, but exactly what I needed to hear. Reaching out to his mom would just cause hurt for more people, and I didn't want that to happen because of me. Enough people were hurt already. And let's be honest, she didn't need to know her son was referring to himself as daddy. So I followed your advice. I wanted him off my lease just for my own peace of mind, but since there were no real implications, I haven't followed up with my leasing office. I can see them asking for the parking pass back when I decide to move, but I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
So she still lives with him?
No. I think he's moved out. It's just like the paperwork.
Okay.
Like,
gives a shit.
It's the formality.
Yeah.
I think I could see, I don't know, because it is scary in a relationship where suddenly you're like, this person I was teammates with and trusted and who probably knows my Hulu password and all these things, like suddenly they're not on my team. So I could see how you might be kind of freaked out. Like, what will he do with the fact he's on the lease? Will he try to do something shady? But it seems like things are okay. She did want to keep him on the lease in order to have the extra parking pass, which I totally get. So it seems like the parking pass might be revoked, but the jig's not up yet. She said, I haven't spoken to my ex since before I called in. He texted me a picture and said I did it a few days after graduating from his really intense military training program, which I received as I was getting ready for a date. So she got this text while she was getting ready for a date.
She did? Oh.
She said, I lolled, rolled my eyes, and never even considered responding. Although one of my friends suggested I respond with, you're clearly still sending me messages that are meant for other people. Which is a savage reference, I think, to when he accidentally texted the daddy stuff.
Yeah.
I really do feel like getting the advice from y'all was the last thing I needed to be able to fully move on. So after I called in, I felt like a weight had been lifted. Since then, I've been working on myself, prioritizing my mental and physical health, and figuring out what I really want so I can date with intention. I've been on a handful of dates with a couple of guys. One I knew from home and had history with. He's been separated for 2 years after being married for 9. After a few dates and building on really good chemistry, he told me he wasn't ready to jump into anything. I told him I wasn't necessarily either, but I didn't want to get hurt if it got to that point before him. So I decided I'd take a step back, and he stopped texting me. Probably wouldn't have done this pre-Wi-Fi. The other guy...
Yeah, she's so far making all the right decisions.
Yeah, we love to hear it.
What a healthy person.
The other guy heard my story through my sister, looked me up, and started pursuing me. Not much there, but he likes to take me to fancy restaurants, and hey, it's hard to say no to that. I just got back on the apps a few days ago, and I'm running into some unexpected issues. My closest girlfriends are also single and looking, and the dating pool around here is the size of a kiddie pool. We've noticed some overlaps already, and it's kind of tough to navigate. Would love some advice on that. Sorry for the obnoxiously long update. Don't apologize for that.
I mean, not much you can do other than like swap stories and make sure you're not overlapping, but like expand your circle. I mean, you're talking to a guy who met his fiance in sort of long distance relationship, and I've always kind of enjoyed meeting people, and like it's been fun to like kind of get to know someone over messages or FaceTime calls and things like that. So expand your search, open up to maybe the biggest, closest, and you don't have to decide now whether you want to get in a long distance relationship. And certainly like it might not help all that much because, they might not have your search area in their filter. But be open to dating outside of your small town. That's all you can really do.
I also feel like maybe not mentioning it to friends until you've been on a date with them and have a sense of if you like them or not.
Yeah.
Because I don't really think it matters if you were like matched with the same guy or even we're both messaging that guy. It's really about like, are you kind of pursuing one another?
Yeah.
And I think it could also be, I don't know, that where my head goes is just that it could be easy to compare notes at every step of the process. Be like, have you seen this guy? Did you match with him? Did you talk to him? And so I think maybe being mindful of not sharing negative things about a person who just wasn't your person.
Yeah.
So because if you're like, oh my God, no, he was so boring. Like, oh my God, just went on and on about whatever, like finance. And then your friend matches with them, like, she's not going to give him a good chance.
Totally.
Because she's going to be like, oh, well, he was the reject of this friend. So I think just being like mindful of that.
That is great. That is great advice. As far as like the people you are dating in your hometown, but also like you just ended a relationship. Like maybe just chill out a little bit in the having to get back out there. It's good that she is and she's making all the right moves, it sounds like, but maybe just slow down a little bit. You don't have to have a date every week. I don't know if she is, because it kind of almost reads that she's anxious to get back out there and move on from this guy, and that all makes a lot of sense. But just take your time and be open to expanding your search. And then, like you said, yeah, maybe with the girls, like, be careful how much information you're sharing at first, because, you don't want to yuck someone's yum.
Totally.
And they might be your best friend, but we all have very different tastes in people and personalities. And you can be friends with someone and good chance you're not liking the same people.
Right. And it's like the golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated. Of like, you wouldn't want somebody to go in with some like very negative opinion of you because of how you showed up on.
Also, like every time, come on, you go on a date, clearly that person might not be into you and you're like, I didn't even like them anyways. And all of a sudden your revisionist history is that they sucked, but like deep down, that like you guys just didn't hit it off.
Yeah. I think short of like feeling like really weird and unsafe on a date, like that is the, like, I don't think you need to warn people.
Tell the story. But if it was like, they're just not for you.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't ask me any questions. Maybe he just wasn't interested in getting to know you, like, it's got to be like a story,
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, that's good advice. All right, well, let's get to our first update. Again, don't forget, Viall Files Plus, so many more available to you. All right, let's get to our first caller.
Question time with Nick. Let's ask Nick your sexy questions.
Welcome back, Debbie.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you? I mean, you've called in several times now.
Most recently, episode 646, OG episode being with Francesca Farrago on 545.
In your words, what did I say to you?
You told me that I'm too dramatic and that I'm all about the drama and I don't really know what I want because I just like, stories and getting attention.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I heard it loud and clear.
All right. And where are we now?
So I had my therapist listen to that episode, by the way.
Really? What did she say?
We talked a lot. She agrees with you. But we talked a lot about that. And I honestly have made such good improvements. I wanted to share.
Wonderful.
With how I'm dating right now more intentionally already. And so I matched with somebody on Hinge. And they're a little older than me, more mature. The woman, and we met at a bar for the first date. It ended up being a 6-hour date.
Oh.
I met her friends. We went to like a kickback in someone's backyard. It was like really nice, chill, getting to know her. But I did have, hesitations because it wasn't that original spark that I had originally with some other people.
Probably a good sign.
It's hard for me though. Like I'm really wanting that spark.
For you, the spark is the drama. You are looking for that unexplainable feeling that justifies you acting out of control. You avoid stability and calmness. So
this is she's very calm.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like you not finding the spark on a first date is probably a very good thing for you. What did you do after the first date?
So I'm very intrigued by her, but we've been having boundaries. We haven't followed each other yet on social media. This was her doing, by the way, not me.
How did it even come up?
Yeah.
About social media and following?
So I had a funny story on my story that I wanted her to see. And then she was like, can you iMessage it to me? Because I don't really like to follow people for the first few dates as I get to know somebody. She said that.
Great. And did you tell her that you had a story because you wanted her to follow you and that was a passive aggressive way?
Kind of, yeah.
Well, that's weird.
It is weird. It's weird behavior. I know that was weird. That was weird of me to
Debbie,
do that.
I consider us friends, and at this point, I'm going to pull 0 punches with you. Yeah, it's super weird to start following people you go on a date with because most first dates don't get to second or third dates. And then you have to like, why are you following someone you went on one date with? That's bizarre. Like you're trying to lock someone down immediately through like passive aggressive behavior. You know, you are trying to find stability through superficial means because you somehow have convinced yourself that her following you is important or it means something to the success of her liking you or their relationship. It's totally superficial. So good for her for saying the obvious and normal thing, which is like, hey, I'm just not comfortable with that right now. And so where are we now with her?
So it's been 2 weeks since the first date because I was out of town and she was out of town, and now I have COVID. We were supposed to go out tonight, actually.
Oh, okay.
We're doing a virtual date night tonight. I've never done one of those
Love
before.
that. Who suggested that?
It was actually me that suggested it because I wanted to
Good for you.
keep things going.
Okay.
We've been texting back and forth, but I'd rather see her face.
All right. What is your goal for tonight's date?
So I want to get to know her, obviously. I guess I shouldn't say there was no spark. There was a little bit of spark, obviously, because I want to see her again.
She's just being upfront and honest with her feelings and communicating, so you're not left to wonder or ruminate about whether she likes you or not. And there's not some dramatic story, and you don't get to go to your friends or us to be like, well, I don't really get what she's doing, and she's doing this, and then I fainted, or blah, whatever the fuck.
Also, your first date was 6 hours long. Like, that is a story if you want it to be a story. There was obviously some sort of spark that you hung up for. Like, what did you do for 6 hours? Like, you could tell people that. Like, it's just
I'm reluctant to like
reframing.
even ask for her story because I almost want her to enjoy not having the story. But yeah, it sounds like you had a nice first date. You don't need to do anything more than just be excited about the potential and then open to getting to know her more. What is your goal for this second date?
I want to get to know her, obviously. So usually I feel like I use social media as like kind of a crutch to get to know somebody, like to see like their hobbies and interests, to see if there's anything like that we have in common. We've talked a little bit about it.
Yeah.
But I'd love to know more about like her in general, like growing up, those things like that. But I feel like it's hard when there's no like physical body language to pick up on.
You're Zooming, so you can certainly read her body language. You're not going to be touching, you know, so as long as she's on camera, you can certainly read her body language. But even if you can't, like you can still ask her questions and you can learn about her childhood. You can learn about her wants and desires, things like that. You know, you can certainly get to know her better via a Zoom date. It might not last 6 hours and it might not be a fun story to tell your friends or call us, but you can certainly learn a lot about her. It's just like to show an interest. Be curious about her and ask follow-up questions. Follow-up questions are the key. So whatever she says, oh, that's interesting.
Something that I've also tried to do as well, and this is maybe more for like texting or dating app things, but I think it's easy to fall into the traps of, oh, what did you do yesterday? Or what did you do this past weekend? Which that's a data point in and of itself. But I've tried to challenge myself to be like, what does your dream Saturday look like? Or what does a typical this look like? Because even if they did something, you know, crazy yesterday, how do our lives really go together in certain ways? Or what is something that is, you know, something that they're really passionate about or something that they do really frequently? So even if you get the data points of, you know, what they did in the past week, maybe that was just a random week. We're trying to get kind of an overall scope of who she is as a person.
What her interests are. Just keep it conversational. If she tells you a story about oh, well, let me tell you about my day. I got really stressed out when X, Y, or Z happened. I'm like, oh, wow, show some empathy. That must have been hard. And focus on getting to know her rather than you on dates are constantly in your head asking yourself, do I feel a spark? The only person you've been caring about on first dates is yourself. And how you
first dates, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
For sure.
But I want you to focus on her and be open and allow her the chance to get to know you. But that's up to her if she makes it a priority. But so far, she sounds like a relatively healthy person. listen, she still brought you around her friends and family on her first date. That's a bit, much. But like, if it made sense, then fine. I hear that you ladies, when you date, you like to move quickly. So word on the street. So
that's stereotype, but yeah, it's true.
But try to be the, thank God you have someone who at least doesn't want to start following each other, but like challenge each other to take things slow. And you can say things like, I've really enjoyed getting to know you so far. No matter what you learn about her tonight or what she learns about you, you will still know a fraction of each other. And it's your job to get to know her and allow her to get to know you, to be open to answer her questions, to give meaty answers, to elaborate on follow-up questions, and just be open and be chill, and to not analyze the date in real time. And when you get done with the date, then you can check in with yourself and ask yourself, oh, how did I feel about that? Then the only feeling that you should really be concerned about is the one of like clarity. Do not be searching for the intangible, whatever feeling that you can't explain, like the spark. And I hope that you get excited about her if you like her. You like confusion, and clarity almost makes you uncomfy. And so you are on a date here trying to get clarity. So I think that's all you should do. I think at some point, if it feels right, if it makes sense, you can say, listen, you can be a little vulnerable and say, I'm kind of in this transitional period in my life when it comes to dating. I've had a bad habit in the past of, I think, chasing the wrong things and moving things a little too quickly. So, this connection I'm developing with you is new to me, and I'm really enjoying the healthy pace at which it's going. And honestly, thank you, by the way. Thank you for setting that boundary about social media, because, I'm not used to that almost like healthy behavior, but I really appreciate it. See how she responds to that.
I will. That sounds great. I'm excited.
All right. Well, good luck. I'm glad that you suggested the Zoom date. Feel better. And then check in with us down the road and we'll go from there.
Also, if you get stuck in a rut, just Google like great date questions or whatever. I do that with friends even sometimes too. Yeah.
Just do
it's
that,
always fun to learn more about people.
Yeah.
And you can Google something or share your screen.
Random questions. Yeah, you can Google like fun first date questions, list of random fucking questions, this or that. Do you like the East Coast or the West Coast? Do you like to be hot or cold, big or small? I don't care. Polka dots or stripes. It doesn't matter. Make it a conversation. But there's nothing wrong with you suggesting ways to make conversations easy between you and your date.
No, I love that. I will try that. No more comments. And Debbie's drama turned into Debbie's do-over, I feel like,
Right.
Ooh.
There you go.
That's a rebrand.
That is
right.
a love rebrand.
Well, good luck on your date. We'll check in and we'll get an update in the future. You're our poster child for Does It for the Drama.
But I changed.
You have? Oh, my God. Tell us more.
I know last time we spoke, I had COVID and I was doing like a virtual date. And you were giving me kind of ideas to get to know this person. And I actually ended up dating her for the last time since we've spoken. And it's been I feel like a very mature relationship. I feel like it was not about the drama at all. There was no chaos. If anything, there were boring parts, but I kind of leaned into that and really got to know her for who she is. But yeah, it didn't end up as I wanted it to, but I did feel like I did take your advice to heart and there wasn't this drama around it.
What do you mean it didn't end up the way you wanted it to?
So we ended up, ending things and it was, hard. And I feel like with queer relationships, I feel like the stereotype is kind of real, the 6-hour dates every time and really getting to know someone on like an intimate level. And I felt like I was vulnerable for the first time in a while. But yeah, we ended up cutting things off and it's hard, but I definitely feel like I'm in the right direction. But I'm already dating again, which is not great. So I want to talk to you about this. I feel like there's a part of me that's addicted, not to drama, but to dating. I feel like I'm addicted to dating.
And what do you mean by that?
Like, I feel like dating gives me this short-term reassurance from people, this validation that I get. And I wanted to kind of get your advice on whether you think, dating after, you've worked on yourself for a while and you were in a solid relationship, is it worth jumping right in, or do I need to like take a break?
Well, how long did you date this person for?
It was around 3.5 months.
Okay, that's not terribly long. And I guess what was your emotional state when it ended?
I mean, it like just ended like literally a few days ago.
And
I already went on another date last night.
Why did you go on another date last night?
Because I find dating fun, and I feel like it's not about the drama.
Well, I mean,
I know you're going to say that, but
drama is just like it's not like a technical term, you know? It's just, at the end of the day, it's just to sum it all up. I mean, it's all encompassing. Maybe it's some sort of avoid, like when you were on this date, like, are you still sad about this? Like, or did it end in a way where maybe you're disappointed, but you understand this isn't my person? Like, I guess, did you go on a date because instead of grieving and being sad and allowing yourself to process the emotions from this, despite it being short, meaningful relationship that you had, and did you decide to go on a date because you would rather avoid those feelings and just try to pretend that everything's fine and go on a date? Or is part of you glad the relationship ended because now you get to date again? Like when you say you're addicted to dating, like any other addiction, not being an expert in addiction whatsoever, but, it's like, hey, if it's alcohol, it's like you sacrifice other healthy relationships because you can't give up alcohol. So, if she ended it, even though you didn't want to, okay, that's her choice. And yeah, you're single, she gets to go on a date. But you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean by you think you're addicted to dating? Because if you would have told me I ended the relationship, it was like, if you called me up and said it was really great and there was really nothing wrong, yeah, maybe there's bits of boringness, but ultimately I ended up with her because I just wanted to go on another date again, then I'd be like, okay, maybe there's a problem here. But all I'm hearing is maybe you just avoided grieving a little bit, and instead of doing that, you figured to go out and date to get a fix of excitement / drama.
Yeah, I mean, she is the one that ended things, so it wasn't, my choice by any means. I feel like dating gives me this like short-term validation. Everyone wants to be liked, obviously.
Of course, yeah.
And I think dating gives me that, like, kind of, I feel like the 6-hour dates, like, the term like love bombing.
I'm familiar.
I guess.
Yeah, familiar.
Like, I felt like almost the 6-hour dates, like, do you even think that's healthy? Like going on 6-hour dates in the early stages, getting to know someone?
I mean, it depends on the date, but if you're always going on these first dates and you're just kind of always going with the flow and you're trying to extend the date as long as possible, then yeah, maybe there's an issue there. It doesn't sound like you're dating with intentions to meet someone and form a healthy relationship. It sounds like you're dating for, again, I say drama, but call it validation. You're dating for a fix. You're dating to scratch an itch, to fulfill some sort of temporary desire. So yeah, maybe there's I don't know if you're addicted to dating. You're addicted to, again, drama, the attention, the fix, the validation. And when you go on a date, and if it goes well, someone might be like, oh, you're so pretty, you're so nice, you're so funny, you're so wonderful, you're so this, you're so that. And all those little comments feel good, and then maybe, especially if it's centered around or, a breakup, yeah, now you have this new person be like, you're so pretty, you're so great, you're so wonderful, so funny, so smart, all around, it helps you forget about the person who decided to say, I don't want to invest in you anymore. And so
I feel like I'm trying to date intentionally. Like, I definitely want to find my person and have a partner. I just feel like, I don't know, dating in LA is really rough.
Yeah,
I know,
sure. It's
like the apps are just.
Yeah, but you don't have a hard time dating. You got dumped and like 24 hours later, you're on another date and lasted 6 hours. Clearly, you're not having a hard time dating. Yes, it's tough to date in LA. It's tough to date anywhere. And LA can be particularly challenging. But you don't seem to have a problem with it.
Like, I'm meeting people. I'm going on dates with people. Yeah. I'm having a good time. But I'm just not finding.
Well, I just don't feel like you're really able to be yourself. Because you aren't good at being alone at all. You're not good at being content alone. Like, you didn't allow yourself to even be sad over this girl. Like, you haven't reflected, you know? Do you know why it ended? Do you care? Are you being introspective at all? Like, what did you learn from this 3 months relationship? I think you need to go on some sort of soul searching journey, but like, it's something you should maybe consider at this stage in your life. And it's one thing to be like a 19-year-old and go out there and just like, I'm just going to fucking date and have some fun. You know, how old are you again?
28.
Yeah. I mean, so anyway, you're so young, but you're finishing up your 20s. You're old enough that like, I'm sure you've had some fun. You've fucked around, you know, you've played the field. And I don't know what your intentions are for dating, but if they are for the intentions of meeting someone that you could potentially start a life with, then, you know, maybe it makes sense to take breaks, slow down, take some time off, be alone for a while. Because right now you don't date. I mean, just your words. But I don't think you date with the intention of meeting a life partner. I feel like you date with the intention of seeking that validation or getting that fix and feeling good in the moment. And yeah, like obviously we want to feel good in the moment and we don't want dating to suck, but like you're not really, it doesn't seem like you're in the right headspace to think about what you want long term, because all you're thinking about is what you want right now.
I definitely do want a partner like long term, and I agree with you, like breaks are probably good.
But what does that look like for you? You know, and at 28 years old, you're exploring this new kind of dating, and this requires some reflection on your part, and you don't seem to be doing a lot of that. So it just feels like you're going at full throttle, full speed, and you never slow down a little bit to reflect about what actually makes me happy. What am I actually looking for? My past handful of partners, who were they? What was their gender? What was their attitude? What was their personality? How did I connect with them? Who did I have the most fun with? What bothered me the most? You know, like the best part about dating and having relationships of any kind, of any length, not work out is that it should be information that you can use in your next relationship, but you don't seem to ever really take the time to think about what that is.
I feel like I am reflecting though. Like I'm definitely, in therapy, and I do have these conversations with friends on what I'm looking for. I did think about this breakup, but I do think I am always on to the next person. And I feel like it is kind of like a numbers game. I mean, it is a numbers game.
It's a numbers game to a point. Again, just it kind of depends on what you're looking for. I mean, it's a numbers game when you like go out to the bars and like, I just want to go home with someone tonight. And if you hit on enough of people, you'll find someone to go home with you. But finding a life partner is a little less of a numbers game. I think it's quality over quantity. Yes, you have to get out and date, and you have to be active as a dater, especially in 2023. But you don't have to be so active that you're just kind of, all right, as soon as I break up, on to the next, get on the apps. But you have to figure out what you want, what makes you happy, and what kind of relationship you're looking for, and start being a little bit more selective.
Yeah, I think that's my problem, the selective piece. Because I do agree. Like, I do find good qualities in people and easily kind of attracted, and I connect to people pretty easily.
But as someone who admits that you like going on dates and getting that validation, you have to self-police and ask yourself, why am I here? Why am I doing this? And you can't be so gullible for a compliment and then turn that compliment into this like, oh, wow, this made me feel good. And if I feel good around this person, I must like them. And if I must like them, then I should date them, and that's kind of what we did when we were teenagers, but now you're 28 and you need to mature in terms of how you go about selecting these dates. Because right now you're still into, as you've admitted, more into the fix, the validation, the instant gratification.
Yeah, I mean, like looking back on the woman I was with the past few months, like I feel like objectively on paper, like we're just incompatible with each other.
Okay. And when did you realize that?
Like on the second date.
And why did you date her for 3 months?
Because I thought she was a cool person. We had a genuine connection.
No doubt. Yeah.
Open communication.
Sure.
I was vulnerable. She was very supportive.
like there were just like core things that wouldn't have worked out between us.
Sure. I mean, I think you've read my book. I don't know, right?
I did read your book.
Yeah, there's a whole chapter.
Sign my book.
Yeah, oh, wonderful. There's a whole chapter about, not be, trust, compatibility being more important than chemistry. And that's not saying chemistry isn't important, but that whole chapter about how I talk about how chemistry can be manufactured, it can be faked, it's hard to trust, it can be a product of your environment, it could be situational. Yesterday, I was having a very interesting conversation with my friend Jojo, who talked about like, that, and I don't know what you think about this, Amanda, but she was saying that if you're a woman's first as a lesbian, that you almost have some sort of power over them, that there's this chemistry that of, like, if I were a woman and you were my first sexual experience as a woman, that no matter what happened after that, I would like, it's like that first love, first crush, I don't know if that's true. That was coming from JoJo. Maybe that's, but my point is that you just started dating women. So that alone, you might feel a little extra bonded to these women than you otherwise would, because this is new experience. And like, you will always remember your first couple women that you've dated. And yeah, you had some chemistry, but as you pointed out, you had nothing in common. You cannot be compatible with some really cool people. Hell, like sometimes when we realize that there's certain characteristics and traits and skills that we don't have, we can be drawn to people who have those traits that we don't. And even though we don't even want to do the things that they normally like to do, we just like admire the fact that they're good at things that we're not, or they like things that we don't. And we can be drawn to those types of people. Again, chemistry. But you're so addicted to that fix, that feeling, that instant gratification, and you're never focusing on building connections, and you're not prioritizing compatibility. You should never, at 28 years old, continue to date someone that you can reflect, take a moment, sit down and think about, okay, how are these first 2 dates? I don't think we have anything in common, honestly. We're very different people. You should stop dating that person right then and there. You should be the big person and reach out to them and say, you're amazing. I've had so much fun with you. Like, honestly, like we have some pretty good chemistry, but I just not sure if you're my person. We have a lot in common and yada, yada, yada. But you're prioritizing chemistry, that fix, and you're just like, oh, but she's good and she's fun. But like, and you just ignored the fact that you really have nothing in common. And in fact, she was the one who ended things with you. So you wasted 2 or 3 months because you already had the answer and you ignored it, and because all you cared about was that fix that she gave you every time you saw each other, every time you hung out, every time you had sex. All while ignoring the truth, which is this was not someone who was ever going to be your person, because you knew deep down you didn't have enough in common.
I think there's like a fine line where in some ways I think there's so many principles of dating that are just like universal and questions that are just like between two people. And then I also think there's specific like nuances and specificities within queer relationships. I think for me, like what I'm thinking is like take a month off of dating for real, like force yourself to do it. Like, it's not about like what, like dating like men, women, non-binary people, like all the genders, like just, I find for myself at least, like, it's just so easy. Like, I like thinking, I like reflecting, I like trying to understand stuff like in my brain. And so it can be very easy to just kind of like spiral into a reflection loop and not when it's actually just a simple action that I need. And I think for you, it's like, you don't know what you're avoiding until you stop avoiding it and confront it head on. I don't like, and I'm saying this because I've definitely had periods of time where I've been like, it's kind of a power trip, feeling like you can go on dates whenever you want. It's also, there's this part of you that's like, but I also genuinely like connecting with people. I also genuinely know I want partnership to be a huge part of my life. So in that way, like there's a million ways where you can say it's productive or fun or worthwhile to go on dates. And so like no shade there whatsoever. But I think it's pretty simple of just like having the discipline to take like 4 weeks off of dating and then seeing when you feel uncomfortable and why you feel uncomfortable. Because I think like that's kind of the data that would be most helpful right now.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously taking the break is what you should do. I just more like when you start dating, I want you to prioritize compatibility. I just never, like, you can do what you want. I feel like you should never, as a 28-year-old woman, smart, fairly, self-aware, that if you can, as you said to us moments ago, that you knew with this person that you dated for 3.5 months, that you knew on the second date you weren't that compatible.
Mm-hmm.
And at a minimum, I want you to realize what you just said to us and what that means for you. And I see it as you ignoring yourself and wasting your own time. And again, if you're in this exploratory phase of your life, great. Again, that's why I asked, why are you dating? You asked if you're addicted to dating, you know? Like, if you're like, hey, listen, despite me being 28, I just started dating women, and I just want to date around. I'm not dating to meet someone right now. I'm just dating to meet different types of people. Then fine. That's your intention in the moment. But just be honest with yourself of what that intention is. Don't tell yourself you're looking for a life partner and then act like you're more in this kind of exploratory, kind of adventurous part of your life. Because if you're looking for a life partner at 28 years old, then you wouldn't be dating someone you know you're not compatible with and wait for them to break up with you just because you enjoy a little bit of chemistry. And I think right now when you meet someone, as soon as you either find they're attractive or they tell a funny joke or you're just like, and you find them charming, you immediately ask yourself, can I like them? Is there something there? You don't even ask yourself, am I compatible with them? Do we have anything in common? You know, what does a life look like with them? You know?
Yeah, I guess I feel like, do you have any advice, like other than, obviously I'm going to take a break. I hear you on that. I need to take a break for sure. But I do feel like, you know, on the apps, it is kind of forces you to like the person, even though, like if you match with someone on an app, you go out with them.
Yeah.
Like, you know nothing about them. And if there's chemistry, like that's kind of what you go off of.
Sure.
Like you don't necessarily know the compatibility at the beginning.
So
I guess
you meet someone, and if you're lucky enough to have chemistry with them, you can acknowledge that, yeah, I think this person's cool. We had a great time, super charismatic. I'm interested in learning more. And then so you learn more. And then you check in with yourself. And then at some point, you know, you're either going to learn if you're what you have in common or what you don't have in common. I don't know how you got to the conclusion after the second date with this woman that you knew you weren't compatible, but somehow you got there and yet you ignored it. Yeah, dating apps they don't feed you people that some sort of algorithm has done the legwork for you and been like, I know that if you spend 10 years with this person, you're going to fall in love with them and get married. That would be amazing if we could just somehow have some sort of algorithm that said, yeah, this is your person. Actually, I don't know if that would be amazing, but
you kind of remind me of like the opposite of sometimes people call in or I have friends who date in a way where they're like, it's like a one strike you're out policy of like, there's this kind of like really trying to evaluate everyone and being like, oh, nope. Okay, they're gone. This is why, like, it's almost like, and a lot of these friends are the people, they like hate dating. It's really a means to an end. And they're like, I'm just looking for the reason to be like, see, I told you this wasn't the right thing. And this was a waste of my time. And I'm frustrated still. And I feel like you're in the opposite side of that, where it's like, you're so open-minded. You're so willing to hear something from a person and absorb new context about it and see if it is in fact the like a deal breaker or a red flag or just an indicator of a lack of compatibility. Like you're so much more willing to have there be more to the story than like what they say. And I feel like that's a beautiful quality, but it also means that like, I think it's just so much work on your part. And I think the question is not do you find yourself trying to convince yourself that something's not an issue, or you're debating whether or not something's an issue?
For sure. I feel like I definitely do ignore red flags. And I've never actually broken up with someone before. Like
that's a problem
at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not shocked to hear that, but because as long as you're getting a fix, a validation from them, you're good.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been the one to end things, like ever.
You know, for someone who dates as much as you do, that's not normal. You're not listening to yourself. You're clearly not speaking up. You're not communicating the things you like and dislike, and you're not learning about people through the lens of, is this someone that I can be with? You're not evaluating yourself, your relationship, them. And like, I'm not saying you should go ahead and like dissect people, but you're never checking in. You're just like, again, you're not dating with any intention to finding a life partner. And if that's fine, if long as you are honest with yourself about that, but you are telling yourself that you are dating with intention when in fact that you're not.
And I think if you're someone who's naturally like able to be really adaptable and flexible to connect with people, then it can, and tell me if I'm projecting here, because sometimes I feel like that when I was dating, like I'm able to kind of, I love the ways that like people can bring out different sides of me and challenge me and like cause me to like lean into different, and just like feeling like I'm trying to be a well-rounded person. And so one person that I'm seeing, it's very easy to like both feel authentic, but also lean into a side of myself that like maybe I didn't lean into with another person. And that's where I think like the merits of taking this break is just being like, where do you fall on your own? Because it's like, I know you could do a back bend, or you could like, I don't know why yoga poses are coming to mind, but it's like, I guess it's like fitting into like the shape someone else, you know, like you could do downward dog, you could do wheel, you could do all of these like different poses. And so you're capable of doing that. And that's like in some ways an amazing skill that serves you so well in life. But like right now with dating, it's like, you're just figuring out what someone wants and then making it happen. And I think like that, hopefully like in taking a week off, just being like, what do I want to do base standard? And then hopefully from there, that's where you can start to be a little bit more like, actually, no, I'm sorry, they're getting the axe. Even though I could switch myself into this other pose, I know I could adapt and make it work. I'm doing this and I like it right now. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. I think I compromise way too much. Like, I think I do try to make it work with everyone.
Well, yeah.
Even
and it's
though...
actually not shocking that you started dating right away because, like, again, deep down, your body told you this is not my person. And then once she ended things with you, you're probably not that sad about it because you kind of knew deep down she was never going to be your person. So other than getting over this, ego blow, and you're like, well, yeah, sure, I have a little bit of an ego blow, but she left me, but I'll just fix that by going on a date. You're not connecting with people. You're not forming meaningful relationships. It's all kind of very surface level. Because as long as you're having fun and having some sex and getting the occasional compliment, like you're good. So, what's your friend circle like?
My friends,
Yeah.
My friends are awesome.
Great. But like focus.
My friends are all in relationships.
Great.
That's kind of an issue.
It's not an issue. It's not. It's an issue for you, but it's not an issue. I would, if I were you, I'd prioritize being a great third, fifth, seventh wheel. I'd prioritize being the friend who goes out with your friends who are in relationships and have fun with your friends and shut up about your dating life and don't make every time you hang out with your friends about your dating life, which I'm guessing you probably do a lot.
And I bet they love it. I bet they eat it up because they're like,
sure, whatever, but stop doing it because that's just your way of being the center of attention. You need to be hanging out with your friends and not be the center of attention. You need to ask them how they're doing, and you need to be the best third or fifth wheel, and you need to have fun with your friends. You don't hang out with your friends so you can talk about your dating struggles or your dating drama and things like that. Every once in a while, fine. But like maybe not only should you take a break from that, I think from dating in general, I think you need to take a break from talking about your dating life with your friends and start being a friend to them a little bit better. Because I'd be willing to bet if I sat down with your friends, as much as you think they're great and they are great, and I'm sure they like hearing your stories, I bet they would be like, yeah, Deb talks about her dating life a lot, and sometimes it can be exhausting, and sometimes she kind of always makes a situation about her and her dating life. And I'd be willing to bet, despite them not wanting to hurt your feelings, if I was asking for some kind of harsh feedback for Deb, they might say something to that effect.
Do my friends call you in?
No.
Did my friends call you? Because I feel like it's pretty accurate.
I've met you before, and by you, I mean like I've been you before. I've had buddies who have been you before. We've all been you before. But like you need to change some patterns that you have because it's annoying. I've been the annoying friend. I've had my buddy who is just like, everything is about dating. Everything about meeting women. We walk into a bar. He immediately had to leave if he didn't immediately find a girl that he found attractive that he could pursue. And I was like, dude, can we just like hang out and have fun? And when
You're right.
I at a certain point started prioritizing just being a good third wheel. Going out with my friends, going solo to a wedding, and not fucking make it about like complain or gripe or is there anyone there you think I can meet? It wasn't about me meeting people. I didn't ask questions about, I wasn't trying to get hooked up. Do you know when I could set me up with? My dating life was my personal life. I did it on my own when I wanted to. Maybe every once in a while there might be one friend I'd be like, hey, can I run something by you? Sure. But like I stopped making my dating life some sort of like major motion picture that I would download to all my friends every time I saw them.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, my alter ego, Debbie, I feel like they're sick of hearing Debbie's drama. Yeah. So I feel like...
And they're just kind of being a good friend to you and listening, but I think you need to focus on being a good friend to them in this month of taking a break from dating and shut the fuck up about dating.
Okay.
Okay?
You got it.
All right.
And if I meet some, like, I don't know, did you meet Natalie when you were in Like, I guess what mindset were you in when you met her? Was it kind of unexpected?
I mean, I had been single for 7 or 8 years, so like you're talking about taking a month break. So why don't we just calm down and stop worrying about if you meet someone? You know that you have a problem of it's easy for you to find chemistry with people. So you need to acknowledge that and realize that like just you feeling some sort of connection or chemistry with someone isn't all that meaningful especially for someone like yourself.
Okay.
So
no, you're
get
totally
off
right.
the apps, stop replying DMs. Put it this way, play hard to get for a month. If someone's like, oh, but I think you're great, let them pursue you. Be like, I'm really just not taking some time for myself. But
and also it's the holidays, so you kind of have that natural like built in.
A month is not that long. I mean, quite honestly, you probably should take a little bit more than a month. When you're taking a break, you should be working on yourself. You should be focused on being a good friend. You should slow down and think about what do I really want when it comes to dating? When I do start dating, whenever that is, how am I going to act? And what am I looking for? Because right now, I'm not convinced that you're actually looking for a life partner. And again, fine if you're not. I'm not, you're only 28. But stop telling yourself that's what you're looking for while you're acting like you're not.
That's so real. Thanks, Nick. And I feel like my friends are going to love you for, telling me the honest truth about that.
No problem. I'm here to help. All right. Well, we definitely shouldn't hear from you in a month. So maybe in 3.
In the new year. How about that?
In the new year. All right. Yeah, definitely. You definitely shouldn't be dating before the new year. Go out, meet people. No, not unless. And again, like it's great that you have that ability to connect with people, but you need to pull back and stop, because you can't trust the chemistry that you feel with people because you're not good at listening to yourself because you told yourself, I don't really have anything compatible with this person. And you dated them for 3 months until they ended things with you. You told us that you've never ended a relationship. That's problematic. And that says I don't listen to myself. And until you listen to yourself, it's kind of dangerous for you to date. So
okay, I'm staying away from dating. I'm going to delete
when we say
app.
take a break or this month, I mean we just made up a timeline. Like it really you should get rid of the timeline. It should be about like you checking in with yourself and practicing listening to yourself. And what is my body telling me? Because your body told you that you weren't compatible with someone. There is 0 chance that if you were listening to yourself with all the people you've dated in your life, that you didn't come to like, they're cool, but like, I don't really like that they do this and I don't like this. And instead of listening to yourself, you ignored it and kept dating them until they ended with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not healthy. Mm-hmm. And you're not setting yourself up for success. And until you're able to listen to yourself and trust yourself, it's dangerous, I think, for you to date because you're going to find yourself, the worst thing you can do is you're going to meet someone like you. And then you guys are going to get fucking married, and I don't know what you want for yourself, but I hope that it's contentment and happiness and a fulfilling relationship. And I want you to be able to trust the person that you choose to want to be with. And I want you to feel good about the connection that you have with them and have and feel good about the future, not this kind of like, well, and when someone asks you like, what do you love about them? I want you to just like be able to like ooze out all these wonderful, meaningful things. And I want it to have substance behind it. What do you have in common? What do you do? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I hear you. Well, maybe one day I'll find that person that's not like me.
All right. Well, I mean, you have a lot of great qualities, but there's this one thing that I want you to really work on, and I'm just basing off the things that you're saying to me.
Yeah, I'm hoping this break will help. I think I definitely need it. So.
All right. Good luck. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Happy holiday. Happy Hanukkah. Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy holidays to you too. And Nick, maybe one day you'll be at my wedding.
Maybe. We got some time.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Take
care. I appreciate it.
All right. Good luck.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Well, always good talking with Debbie.
Always. I
feel like I'm getting meaner and meaner with her.
You are. You're. Yeah. Yeah.
But she needs that. She also like loves it.
Well, it's also, I'm like, are you taking her health insurance? This feels therapeutic. It feels like there's a continued, so I feel like you're coaching Debbie.
Yeah.
It's informed consent. Debbie knows what she's getting when she calls in.
Well, it's just a lot of the same stuff over and over, and I can't physically shake her.
Yeah.
Debbie was someone who likes the drama. Like, you can't help people who don't want to help themselves. And I want Debbie to want to help herself. And I want her to do more than just recognize that she has a problem. Because saying you have a problem, I get it, yeah, it's the start. But she likes talking about her problems because it makes her the center of attention.
I also think talking about problems, you can easily equate it to solving problems when those are two different things.
Yeah. And like, she's not that interested in solving her problems as much as she is talking about her problems. But I think there's a lot of great takeaways from that call.
Totally.
So anyway, we have another writer in her.
We sure do. Okay, so this is an update from Tiffany. She was originally on episode 624. This is the person who called in because she was catching feelings for her prison pen pal.
Oh, yeah.
Who she found on TikTok, etc.
Yeah, we looked him up on the gram. Good looking cat. Yeah, I remember him. So what's up?
So Tiffany writes, shortly after the pod, I met a girl on TikTok in the comment section of Kay's video. Kay is what I'm going to call the guy. She commented that she was, quote, talking to him for a few days, end quote. So we started messaging back and forth. She gave me a lot of information, including messages, etc. Nothing flirty by any means, strictly friendly, but somehow it hurt my ego/feelings a little bit. Her and I realized we are practically the same person and talked every single day since. After all of that happened, him and I ultimately stopped talking.
She should have made a friend out of it.
Yeah, I love it.
Love that.
It's like The Bachelor, Yeah. There are multiple groups on Facebook very similar to the Are We Dating the Same Guy groups, but inmate version, if you can believe it. LOL.
I can indeed believe.
I love how many communities, like any niche, it's like there's going to be a Facebook group, there's going to be a community, there's going to be drama. Oh my gosh. So her and I, this is new friend, decided to post Kay on there anonymously just to see if anybody else was talking to him, since her and I figured out that we were both talking to him. A girl from Australia commented saying that they have been, quote, together for a few months and that they were planning on getting married. This girl also included screenshots of multiple messages. After communicating back and forth with her, we discovered she does this a lot with multiple inmates at the same time. So basically an inmate hopper, for lack of a better word. Fast forward to a few months of Kay and I not talking. I'm at work one Friday and my phone rings. It's Kay. I answer and was super dry, pretty much, but did talk for a few minutes. I didn't hold back on questions about the above situation or how it made me feel. Since then, we have been in contact daily. Messaging.
Wait, why?
She says, messaging, video calls, and phone calls. At this time, I have no specific expectations and am basically going with the flow, communicating. After doing research before the new discoveries, I found out it is almost impossible to get approved to visit them at that specific Idaho prison if you did not and cannot prove a relationship/friendship prior to incarceration. Kay did get granted parole and will be getting out in February. Not really sure where to go from here. Like I said, just going with the flow and not getting in my own head about everything. I appreciate you guys asking for an update and giving very helpful advice as always.
Well, don't victimize this inmate hopper to justify you continue to talk to Kay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She was like quick to point out that she's the inmate hopper. What is Kay? He seems to be a bit of a hopper as well. I mean, he's an inmate fuckboy who, is building, and maybe he's not doing, and I get it, fuck, he's in prison. Like, he's probably going to talk to as many people as he can. It's probably fun. It's dabbling, and our writer in her, like, she's not in a relationship with him. No one's really in a relationship with him, so he's not really doing anything wrong. But she was quick to point out her flaw and not Kay's.
Yeah.
And I just, Yeah,
like short of the inmate hopper, being like completely delulu and like blowing up Kay's phone and him not responding. Like Kay there was some kind of participation on his part.
Yeah.
And I guess to be fair, I don't really know the culture in this kind of thing as if it's really common for inmates to make like straight male inmates to make friends with women who date men. Like, I don't know if that's like a norm, like if there's kind of like a pen pal connection element to it, or if it's kind of an indicator that he is very happy to explore options.
Yeah. And like, as he should, but like, I mean, she said she has no expectations, and that's good if it's true. I would just check in with yourself and make sure that you really don't have expectations.
Yeah.
Because this guy is clearly talking to a lot of people, and that's fine. And they're not in a relationship, but I don't think this is your guy. And I just feel like maybe, it's whatever you got out of this, great, but come on.
Yeah. I kind of like when she first called in, I feel like, and inmates deserve love too. So this is not me trying to say that.
I don't know. Not all of them.
Well, yes, not all of them. That's a great point. Some inmates deserve love. It's an amazing point. So it's like, I don't want to completely count him out, but it just feels like there's going to be such a change once he's on parole and sort of back in the outside world and getting his life going. And you have no idea how he's going to handle that. You have no idea if he's trustworthy when he has access to like other people that he could physically see. You have no idea what his priorities will be. I'm sure he has a lot on his mind. And so, I don't want to condemn him, but I'm just like,
well, she says he's talking to him every day now. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, here, you're lying to yourself that you have no expectation. You can't be talking to someone every day and investing that much of your time and energy into anything without having expectations about it. Because that actually would be maybe even more crazy.
Yeah.
So
it's just like, wow, you have so much extra energy.
Where's this going? Like, what's the plan? And so either be honest with yourself about what your expectations are, start there, or just pull back a little bit, because like that's a lot to talk to anyone without any expectation.
Yeah.
So I think we were both in agreement. Just just check in with yourself. Be a little bit more honest with yourself than you are being, and either figure out what your expectations are and communicate that with him, and ask yourself, are these smart expectations to have, or pull back from how much you're communicating with him, because that is a lot of your time and energy to have no expectations.
Yeah, like don't let this man monopolize your love life when you haven't even really, you won't get to give dating each other a real shot until February.
This whole thing has kind of become an obsession in Facebook group, checking in, this is very entertaining, no doubt, but where has it gotten you? And not everything we do has to get us somewhere. Maybe, just watch bad TV sometimes, we're good to do. But just be careful, I guess is the big takeaway. All right, well, you got another update call. Let's get to it. Welcome back, Megan.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and give you a little bit of a messy update.
Ooh, I don't know if we love a messy update, but, we also love a messy update. What's the original episode, Amanda?
Yeah, so originally Megan was on episode 566, and then we had a written update from you that we read on episode 617.
Okay, so and originally this was you were like a failed attempts at a father figure. Your stepdad basically left your mom, and you had stole some money. I think there was some financial messiness.
Tons.
Let's play a quick clip to bring our audience up to speed.
My God, you guys.
Okay,
so do you remember Megan? She was on episode 566. She was caller number 2. And she said that she had a failed third attempt at a father figure.
I do. Yeah.
And so this guy had recently ended things with her mom. And all of a sudden he's posting on Facebook. He's like, I'm in a new relationship. He had some financial skeletons in his closet. And so I believe your advice was to maybe draft up a letter, put down her thoughts, and just kind of figure out, what she wanted to say. So Megan says, I was on episode 566 and had the stepdad issues for context. Since chatting with you, my partner and I bought our first home and have booked a trip to Europe this summer. So exciting. Part of the big takeaway from my time with you guys was to draft up a letter to my stepdad explaining how I was feeling about everything since he posted about his new relationship, and it had come out that he had a litany of financial skeletons that he hid from my mom and us as a family. As I began to work on my letter, new information and dramas kept unfolding, and as a result, I never actually ended up finishing it. Instead, my frustration and hurt continued to grow as I heard how he was talking to my mom and the continued lack of honesty towards us as a family. Turns out, wait for it, he recently withdrew and spent my mom's tax return without her knowledge from an account that he was supposed to close. He had made several bad investments on my behalf as my financial advisor that was costing me hundreds of dollars a month and claimed to not know about it. Had me collecting his air miles on my personal credit card for years without my knowledge.
Wait, hold on. Had her collecting his air miles?
So every time she spent on her card, it resulted in a mile for him, I think.
Oh, that's so sneaky.
Yeah.
How does one do that?
Well, he helped me set this up as a 17-year-old kid.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah.
It's
you
like,
bet your ass
it's like
he
you're
is.
getting the rewards.
He's a bit of a con artist.
Yeah. And best of all, chose the same small town that my mom, brother, and I all live to move with his new family and start their life here when we are bound to bump into them. I finally had a phone call with him to confront some of these issues, and he says he still hopes for a relationship with my brother and I, but my response to him was that I hoped for accountability and respect for us and our 12 years of history and feel like I never got that. I told him that I don't know where to go from here because I am hurt and I can't trust him. Too much has happened and too much keeps happening that I don't believe he understands the damage he's done. The phone call ended in tears. I feel like I said what I needed to say, which was healing for me. Although I do wonder what I will do if I ever bump into him at the grocery store. At least I know not to use the same Air Miles credit card when I am there. Hope you guys are well and enjoyed this little messy update.
Wow. Well, kind of a sad update. Sometimes you just gotta let people go. I think it's time to let them go.
Megan.
Well, and the fact that he's
fucker.
moving his new family to their small town, like I'm just like, it doesn't feel like he cares about them, which has got to be so painful after 12 years of viewing him as a father figure.
Yeah, no, it sucks. I mean, it sucks. But as we said in our intro moments earlier, life is hard. Bad things happen to all of us. You know, it's not a matter of if bad things are going to happen to us. It's just when. And even if that bad thing is we just die, you know, it's eventually, you know, we are going to deal with death and we're going to deal with sickness and we're going to deal with tragedy. It's just a matter of time, not to get us all on and in between some of those very, you know, finite and tragic, painful experiences, there's a litany of all these other things that, you know, on some version we all have to deal with. This is all to say, like, I only say that because this is one of those situations with our writer inner, you know, because, you know, her title was like her third attempt at a dad kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be very easy to, you know, let that self-pity come in, and justifiably so. She would be justified to feel sorry for herself in this situation. But clearly this is a man who has proven time and time again that he's not interested in learning from his experiences. He's a survivor. He's a cockroach type of, you know, there are people out there who they're just kind of willing to do anything they need to do to get by to better themselves. And unfortunately, they can be charming and charismatic, and they are not without having good qualities, you know? And so you are able to bond with these people. And the fact that, you know, he played a role as a father, it must be hurtful. But she can get through it, and she sounds like she's doing okay, you know? And I just think it's one of those situations at some point, and I'm glad she kind of didn't finish the letter and didn't send the letter. It's like sometimes you just have to give up on people, you know? She has to give up on him so that she doesn't give up on herself type of thing. This is going to sound almost morbid. But at some point, I might lose some loved ones, some parent, you know, my parents. Like, I might lose my parents before I lose myself. I don't even like saying it. But, like, I'm not going to go find a new dad or a new mom, you know? And so as an adult, like, she doesn't need to keep trying to find that father figure. You know, maybe the male roles that play in her life are more in the partner or friendship, companionship, and things like that. So it just might be time for her to let go, you know, rather than finding that closure or trying to maintain a relationship. And it sounds like she's on that page. You know, it's just there's no point in
healing.
I want to commend her as well for moving forward in her own life. My partner and I bought our first home.
That's
we
what I'm saying.
A trip booked to Europe. Like, how great for you
so
to
many
kind
positive
of have
things she has
to
focus on. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I hope that she just gives up on him and doesn't kind of wallow in the, you know, I could never find a dad, you know, like clearly her life has a lot of positives. And as a result, she is experiencing, you know, so many positive things. She's also had a lot of negatives, right? But thankfully, the positives have outweighed the negatives or allowed her to have this, what sounds like a fairly healthy relationship with her partner and a lot of positivity in her life. And I think at times we can, again, it's easy to focus on the negative. It's easy to, not focus on the positive. You can ruin a good thing by dwelling too much on the things that we don't get. And that can ruin the things that we do have. And so it sounds like she's doing a good job of whatever I am telling her to do. There's so many probably situations in which she just trusted this guy, only to not realize that she was being screwed over or manipulated and lied to. And that can fuck with you, you know?
Totally.
All right. In your words, just give us a quick kind of rundown of the original call and then your written update that you wrote us and gave us a quick update for.
So essentially when I first called, I was kind of looking to see like if it was worth salvaging a relationship with my stepdad. The backstory was that I had lost 2 father figures before him. They had both passed away. And so this one with my current stepdad was really important. We had had a relationship for about 10 years. And essentially, the marriage didn't work with my mom. And when that kind of happened, we found out that he had several kind of financial skeletons happening. And so I was just put in a really awkward position. And, you know, I felt like we had been lied to. And so I was calling to kind of gain a little bit more clarity. And essentially where we left off was you had encouraged me to write a letter to him, explaining how I thought that, you know, everything went and what I was feeling. And that was kind of where we left off from that.
Okay. And then you wrote us in to give us an update.
Yes. Okay. So then my update, I never actually ended up physically writing the letter because as I found myself sitting down to think about it, obviously the summer was kind of crazy. Like, my partner and I, we got engaged, we bought a house. So like lots was happening. So I just kind of put that to the back burner, but I had done a lot of like thinking and reflection on it. And then as I was kind of reflecting, everything just kind of came out of the woodworks. And I was like, I don't even know if this guy deserves a letter. Essentially what had happened, like one of the big things that kind of just really turned me off of everything. He was a financial advisor. And he had what we thought a good understanding of how to manage your money and, you know, keep your ducks in a row. But essentially he, came out that he stole my mom's tax return that accidentally got put into an account that he was supposed to close when they divorced. The account never got closed. The money got deposited in there. As soon as my mom went to track the money down, it had already been withdrawn and spent. And then when we were planning a trip this summer, I went to go and use some of my air miles that I had been collecting since I was 17. Because when I was 17, he helped me set up a credit card. And he had his collector number linked to the credit card that I had been using for the last 8 years or whatever. So I had been collecting air miles on his behalf. Oh. So all of those were essentially his. So I was I was kind of shocked about that I don't know, I was collecting his stuff and not mine. Entered into a new relationship, and then he moved into the same small town that my mom, my brother, and I had all just bought houses in. And so we just kind of were like, really, dude, out of all the places to we're not saying where you can and can't live, but it was in very poor taste with how everything was kind of left off. So.
And where are we now?
So since then, like I say, I did confront him when the air miles thing came out and that was also the first time that I had actually spoken to him. But I mean, when I found that out, I was like, well, I still intend to use these. I've been collecting them for 8 years and we had enough to buy flights back to the UK. So I was like, I don't know what to tell you, but I am going to spend them. So I essentially gave him a courtesy call and I was like, hey, this is really weird that these air miles are under your collector number, but I don't know what to tell you. Like, I have been collecting these. I have every intention to spend them.
What did he say?
Well, he was like, oh, I had no idea. Like, I'm so sorry. I had no idea, which has kind of been his excuse for everything, is that he's just like, he has absolutely no clue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was quite frustrating. And then the call just kind of turned into just like a bunch of like tears on his end, saying that he really wants to continue a relationship with me. And at that point, I was just kind of like, just really frustrated, because I felt like after everything that had come out, I was lied to. Like, he's now not only crossing my mom, but he's also crossing me now. And I mean, we also looked into some of my investments, because when I was young and came into inheritance from my dad, obviously he's a financial advisor, I allowed him to kind of look over my accounts. And he was making several terrible investments over these last couple of years. My fiance looked at the account and he found it within the first like 5 minutes that I was spending like $200, $300 a month on interest to own this stock, that like I could have bought the stock outright. Like, it was just so like negligent. And he essentially called my stepdad and was like, this is the stupidest investment I've ever seen in my life. He's like, oh, again, I had no idea. So, I mean, at that call, I just kind of told him, I was like, I don't know how to move forward with you. I don't trust you. And he's like, well, I hope that we can get trust back. And I essentially said, I was like, well, I had hoped that, I could have had a trustworthy father figure for the last 10 years, but I feel like I've been lied to. And so that was kind of it at that point. And then, when my partner and I bought a house and got engaged, there was part of me that like, I do feel really bad, because like I was explaining in the first call, like, I just feel like he just doesn't get it. Like, he's just so surface level that like, he's almost kind of like just a sad puppy almost. And so when I got engaged, I was like, well, I feel like I want to share this with him. So I texted him a photo of my engagement. And I was like, I just wanted you to know I got engaged today. I thought it was going to be like kind of a positive interaction. And he responded, he was like, wow, keep up the good work, with a thumbs up, which like, whatever. But I was like, I don't know, after 10 years in my life, I just kind of thought it was a little bit deeper than that. Yeah. Since then, he continues to reach out and just says like, well, I want to start fresh. Like, I want a relationship with you, blah, blah, blah. But he's taken my aunt out on dates, which like, I think is in very poor taste, because his relationship that he moved to the same town with, that dissolved.
Your mom's sister?
Yes.
Where's your mom?
Where's
your mom's sister? Why is she accepting dates with this guy?
I think my mom's sister is one of those people that just likes a lot of attention. Right. So she's older.
Okay, so a whole other issue.
A whole other issue, yeah. But
I mean, listen, I think you just got to get to the point where you just have to accept who your stepdad is, which is someone you can't trust. No. Thankfully, well, it hasn't affected you so much that, you just got engaged. I haven't heard you complain or say anything negative about your relationship. So it sounds like overall you trust him. It hasn't affected your trust with men or things like that. Well, and which it could have, right? You could be like, I got a problem with my stepdad. And oh, by the way, all my personal life is a mess. Everything seems to be in order, so that's a positive. Listen, you didn't have the quote unquote storybook life, whatever that means, that maybe some of your peers or the movies have had. I don't fucking know, but who really has? And so at the same time, you're here. I don't know. You seem like you have a beautifully designed place. You're well dressed. You seem like you are thriving in life, So
Thank you.
We all have things in our life that we wish were different or could change. Stop trying to make this work with him. You know, I'm not telling you to cut him off or whatever, but you need to stop having any expectations of him.
Totally.
Like, treat him like a 3-year-old. Would you expect anything from a 3-year-old? No. Other than just like being there. If he wants to fucking call you and take you out or whatever, there's nothing to trust him with. Nothing about what he says is trustworthy. You don't need a quote unquote father figure in your life for you to be happy and fulfilled and for you to have a successful life or marriage. There are other ways to get mentorship and have a support system. And at this point in your life, I think it's more important for you to just prioritize healthy relationships rather than the aesthetic of who those people are. Oh, it's like, well, I have a father figure, I have a mother figure, I have a best friend, I have this, I have that. You know what I'm saying? You're not like putting a roster of a support system together so that from the people on the outside looking in could say, this looks normal. I don't know what normal is, right? I don't care who your friends are. I don't care who your mentors are. I don't care who your support system is, other than they are healthy and that they're people you can trust and they're people whose advice that you can look into, and just let this be, a tough lesson learned. The tough lesson learned, and we've all had to learn it, is that you can't trust everyone. There are nefarious people out there. There are people that you want to assume, like a doctor or a mechanic or a financial advisor, that, because they're a financial advisor or because they're a doctor, you're going to get good information, but unfortunately you can't. And to protect yourself, you got to get second opinions of things. And if things feel off, listen to your body, listen to yourself, and maybe it won't be off, but like there's double check, trust but verify, type of thing.
So then would you recommend, because the issue that I'm running into is, I completely agree with what you're saying. Like, I've kind of come to the realization that now, like, my top priority is what exists within the four walls of my home. You know what I mean? Like, that is what's I'm putting my energy into. What I find is happening is that I'm a very I feel bad for him, like, in so many, because
you feel bad for your stepdad.
Get it. Yeah, like, because
let that go.
I can't even make this up. So since everything, the most recent revelation is he's been fired from his job because he's a poor financial advisor, and he's now become a life coach. And I'm like, it's one of those things that I'm just like.
He's also not bad at his job. He's a crook.
Yeah. Like,
it's not. I don't think it's a lack of stupidity. I think it's a lack of.
So like every time that he says, he's like, "Oh, I had no idea."
Character.
Like, he knew.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess then what would you recommend? Like, because he keeps consistently reaching out, like probably every 2 months. And my fiance now is like, I'm prepared to get on the phone with him and say, please stop contacting her. Because then I'll kind of go back into a lull of like, I feel so guilty. Like, he lost everything, blah, blah, blah.
He didn't lose everything. He gave everything up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They were his choices.
And he got multiple opportunities to rectify the problems. And every step of the way, he kept, almost to your utter shock and amazement, kept doing nefarious shit.
Yeah.
So you can pity him. I wouldn't feel sorry for him. I don't know if there's a difference, but you know what I mean. I wouldn't feel sorry for him to the extent that that's how this guy gets by.
Right.
He tells a story. He's a storyteller. That's what the only thing he's good at is being a good storyteller.
Yeah. Yeah.
And his stories don't require the truth. And don't let this get to the point where it's causing stress between you and your partner, because he's trying to protect you and you pity him. And at some point, your partner's going to get real frustrated, and this guy is literally dating your fucking aunt. Stop feeling sorry for him. You have no reason to pity this guy. And if you, or feel sorry for him, if you want to pity him, you can pity him. Sure, but that's a him problem. He's not stupid. And his choices are his own. And as you've heard me say many times, people can fuck up their lives because of their choices. And he's making choices that are fucking up his life. And he's been doing it time and time again. And he's not doing anything about it. It's not like he's like waking up and be like, I'm fucked up my life. I have to go get therapy. I have to actually work on myself. I have to slow down. I got to stop hurting people that love me. He just keeps he keeps playing dumb and keep asking for people's forgiveness. And he's expecting people to have unlimited forgiveness for him. And he's not willing to do anything about addressing the actual problems that are causing his life to crumble. So he doesn't deserve any pity, or he doesn't deserve any of your sorrow. And he's already literally costed you a ton. And you've heard me talk about be mindful of where you channel your energy. Your pity and you feeling sorry for your stepdad is taking away from you having quality time with your mom, quality time with your partner, quality time with yourself, and quality time with anyone else. Because again, your energy is not infinite.
Right.
And when you focus your mental energy on him, it's not going to other more productive places. It's going to someone who is going to consume that energy and throw it away.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it. I feel like I just need to get the balls to just say that.
You don't need to say anything to him. You don't owe him anything.
No, like just don't respond.
You don't owe whatever you want to do. Fine, but you don't need to work up the courage. That's more, if it doesn't come naturally to you, then just walk away. You've given this guy ample opportunities. If your partner wants to do it because it'll give him some sort of satisfaction, let him do it. Honestly, at this point, any interactions with him is just going to create more attachment to him. It's going to create more drama. This is not a guy who is going to sit down and listen and go, yeah, well, you're right, or you've made a good point. No, he's not going to listen to you. And then he's going to find a way to victim himself and make excuses. And then again, tell a story to try to make you feel bad. It's going to be this kind of, vicious cycle.
Never ending.
So you keep acting like the next conversation you're going to have with him is going to be some sort of wake up call that he's going to understand why you can no longer talk to him. And if I thought for a moment that something would register with this guy, then I would say, yeah, maybe have a conversation with him. But based on what you're telling me, he has proven time and time again that is just wasted effort. So stop wasting your energy on him.
Right. Well, that's good. That's good then. Cause I feel like, I am in a good place. Like I feel ready to kind of leave it in the past. Like it was so messy that I'm just.
Yeah. All you really need to do is accept that your life is pretty damn good. And it doesn't require him being your life to feel fulfilled. And that you need to accept that there's nothing about the way your life has played out or how he has played a role in your life is any sort of shortcoming in your life or a reason for you to feel less than or something you need to make up for. You just need to look at what you do have and be grateful for it and think, that's pretty fucking damn good. And yeah, it hasn't always been great. We've had some low moments in our family. Things have gotten weird, whatever. Every family has that. But instead of trying to make good perfect, just really appreciate what you have and let them go.
Right. Oh, this has been it has been helpful, definitely. Because I feel like even just chatting with you guys, like initially when I first called in, like that gave me a lot of just even peace in myself, like saying it all out loud. And so, now that so much time has kind of passed, like it's been a year since the get-go of this, I'm just, All right.
I'm over it. Well, I'm glad. That's what we wanted to hear. You need to be totally over it. Just let it go and stop.
Definitely.
Anytime, any thought of like, what does this say about me or anything? I mean, just let that go. You seem to be a well-rounded person. You don't need a father figure in your life at this stage in your life to be happy or to have a support system,
Right.
And you can feel sad for him without feeling like it's your obligation to then do something as a result of it. Like, I'm sure it's like very natural to like when it comes up in your brain and it crosses your mind to feel like, wow, that's such a bummer. Like he's made so many mistakes. He's gotten himself in a really like isolating position. And like you can acknowledge that feeling and have it for a second and then not have it like make it an agenda for you of like actions you now need to take because of it. You can just kind of like let it go.
Right. Totally. It's just, it's hard because the way I've been dealing with it is just by not responding.
Which is fine. So you can block them.
Yeah.
My partner, he's like, just let me get on the phone with him. I'll just say, please stop. This isn't good for us. Wish you well, but see you later.
Yeah. I mean, if you really want to, it's fine. But again, as long as it doesn't create more drama.
Exactly. Totally. I think I'm just ready for it to, just be like, just book closed, chapter done. So I don't know. I feel like he almost needs to see those words, just be like, please stop contacting me.
I don't know. I don't think everything's going to get through to this guy, but.
No. You wish for it. But I mean, he's a life coach now. Who knows?
That's a him problem. And anyone he coaches.
And the clients.
And the clients.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right. Well, take care.
Yes, you too. I appreciate all the advice. You guys have been amazing.
Anytime. Happy holidays.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Okie dokie. All right. Another writer enter before we get to our last update.
We do. This is Jenna. She was originally on episode 666, and she wrote in because she was trying to figure out if her guy friend was flirting with her, and they had a trip planned. And she was like unsure if like she should make a move.
Oh, and like they had 2 separate beds?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
Yes. That's exactly
I remember.
it. And your advice was basically like flirt. Slide in his DMs.
This is the one I joked about, just walk around naked in the hotel room.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember. Okay, well, what happened?
Okay, so she writes, so we didn't go on the trip yet because some things happened after our call. Long story short, an event occurred that made us have to postpone the trip, crying face emoji. But the good news is that we already rescheduled it and we leave in 10 days. Fingers crossed nothing else happens before then. Sending the IG message was definitely a good call. I'd say the flirting has escalated on his end, and he has been more of the initiator with texting and communication.
Okay.
He also sent me the new itinerary/booking confirmation, and I see he put us in a room with 1 bed instead of the room with 2 beds he booked before. Girl, you're in. You are in. And so she said, I'll be sure to give you an update when I'm back. Oh my God, I can't wait for her update.
I mean, there's 1 bed.
This is so promising.
If you don't have, I mean, assuming you want to have sex.
Yes.
I think go hard to the paint.
Yeah.
Do you think she should walk around naked now?
No. I feel like, well, I guess no, because it's very early on. But I feel like you can desensitize your partner to nakedness.
What do you mean?
Like, I think there is value. I think it was maybe just like my ex with COVID, where like, I think it's great when you feel comfortable like changing in front of your partner, obviously. But it did I feel like I had a revelation that it's like, if you just walk around naked all the time, it's going to stop being exciting.
Oh, yeah,
but this is different. This is different. But I still think, I don't know. I just feel like you should let it build. I think there's already, because like the foreplay has started. Sending someone a confirmation with like 1 bed and flirting and texting, like I think just like really revel in the build.
Yeah.
And tell us all about it.
Yeah, let's next update should be about the sex.
Or any physical connection that was started.
Yeah, if you're going to either call in or write in, but we basically want what are they, like those porn novels?
Smut?
Yeah. Like I want you to set the stage.
Yeah, we want erotica.
Yeah, we want erotica. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm really curious, like at what point the first move is going to be made.
Yeah.
You know, like it's going to be right when you walk in.
Right when they walk in, or do they go to bed a little drunk and someone's like kind of like rubs up on them? For
the listener, Nick was sort of popping his hip in the
chair.
I
was doing the SpongeBob squirmy thing that Ariana's new boyfriend did on stage. Yeah. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
All right, let's get to our last caller. Welcome back, Greg.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. Well, first time you called in, it was a zinger. It was a juicy one. Your dad broke up you and your, well, I don't know if did he break up you and your girlfriend? Either way, he started dating your ex-girlfriend.
Or someone you were interested in?
Or a girl you had a crush on.
Yeah, a girl I went on a couple dates with, was seeing, but was interested in her, definitely.
Yeah.
So Greg first appeared on episode 579, and then we got an update with him in episode 604.
Just for our audience, let's play a quick clip to kind of bring everyone up to speed of where we're at from the first 2 calls.
Hey, how's it going, you guys?
Good. So last time we talked to you, not too long ago, you called up with a very vulnerable but juicy story from our end about your dad essentially stealing your girl.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Remind our audience, just kind of quickly paraphrase what happened and what was the advice that we told you, and where are we now?
Yeah, so I reached out to you guys. I was just looking for help to reach out to my dad, who broke up my family by cheating on my mom with a woman that I was seeing. I reached out to you guys and you guys gave me some great advice.
And so essentially by the time you called, really this had happened a while ago. And so the advice that you were looking for, remind me if I'm wrong, was that despite everything that happened, You still, and understandably so, wanted to have a relationship with your dad. Some time had passed. He's still dating the woman that he
blew up the family
for
before Christmas.
At the end of the day, we only have one mom and one dad, and when it comes to family, as messy as it can be, you know, like the desire to have him in our lives is a strong one and a valid one. What was the advice that we gave you around that topic?
You told me to just set boundaries with him and set boundaries of, you know, I really don't care to hear about her. I just ask that you meet me where I'm at and we have a relationship that's focused on us, and set the boundary of, you know, I don't really want to hear what you guys are doing. I don't really want to know about your life. All I ask is that you just focus on having a relationship with me. And then you also mentioned to just kind of, you know, accept it for what it is. And we can't control what our parents do. And that's something that's really helped me, is just accepting the choices my dad's made and understanding that those aren't my choices.
So did you reach out to Pops?
Yeah. After we spoke, I took a week. I just collected my thoughts, really just thought over everything. And I shot him a text. I was like, hey, this is out of the blue. I love you. You're my dad. I do want to have a working relationship with you. And, whenever you're free, I'd love to get together and just talk and, you know, catch up and see, like, you know, just talk about having a relationship. And he texted me back the next morning, and we kind of went back and forth a little bit, just catching up a little bit about life. And then we actually spoke yesterday. So the conversation's fairly fresh. I was just upfront with him, and I started the conversation by just telling him, I was like, hey, the last year, like, your actions really did hurt me. Like it did affect me. It affected my life. And then I kind of transitioned just being thankful. I was like, I thanked him for that. And just, you know, I kind of mentioned all the work I've put in and how far I've come. And then, I just got to setting boundaries. I just told him, I was like, you know, I'm going to need you to sack up and man up. And I'm going to need you to just focus on having a relationship with me. And I don't want to have you like talk to me about her. I'm not your buddy in that department. And then I also set the boundary because he asked about my mom and how she was doing. I was like, you know, like, it's another boundary I'm going to say, like, you don't get to ask like how my mom is doing. Like, I just, to me, that seems inappropriate. So I set a lot of boundaries with him, and he was very receptive to it. He was like, yeah, no, I understand. And he kept apologizing. And there was one point in the conversation, like after he apologized for like the 10th time, I was like, you know, I do challenge you to kind of look inward and figure out like why you made the choice that you did.
But also to that end, you could just say, listen, thank you for the apology. You don't need to apologize. What I need you to do is just respect what I'm asking and be a dad and respect my boundaries. I don't need you to keep saying I'm sorry. I just need you to make things right given the framework that we're operating in, so to speak. I'm willing to accept that this is your choice. You know, I'm willing to have a relationship with you despite the situation. I just need you to respect what I'm asking, and we'll be okay. What did he say about when you challenged him?
He was like, you know, like, that's a really good point. He was like, I feel like I should go to therapy and kind of talk through like why I did the things I did. And I just encouraged him. I was like, yeah, you know, I think looking inward and going to therapy and really like getting through everything, and I think that would really benefit you. And he was like, yeah, you know, maybe that's something I will look into. So he was very receptive, like when I challenged.
Good for you.
Him on it.
Keep challenging him, you know. And if nothing else, I got to imagine hearing from his son do the difficult things like prioritizing their mental health and doing this. And you can even challenge like, well, you're the one who made these choices, and I'm not trying to, you know, bring up old wounds, but you know, if I can go ahead and do the vulnerable thing, like get therapy and realize that I need some help and I need to not let my, you know, struggles in life or my feelings and, you know, because I'm sure your dad in his head is able to justify all his choices. Well, I felt sad and my needs weren't being met or what, you know, I promise you, he was able to convince himself why doing what he did was his only option. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done it, right? Or why he deserved to do it, or yada, yada, yada.
And that's something I just got annoyed the amount of times he was apologizing. Like, you can say you're sorry, but like, how are your actions going to back that up?
I think you reaching out was a big deal for yourself and for him. And I'm sure, I bet you impressed him. And just keep loving him and keep challenging him. We just always have to find that balance of when we want to challenge someone, we have to make sure we, you know, sandwich them with love. How are you feeling about this? Like, do you feel, where's your kind of heart around this topic?
You know, I feel good. I mean, you know, after the conversation yesterday, I was like, okay, like, I do feel like we're on a good path. There was one thing though, he asked me, he was like, do you see yourself like if her and I continue to date, do you think you could get to a place where you could like be around us? And I just looked at him and I was like, fuck no. Like,
also, I would say, hey, Dad, maybe I'm not getting through to you. Even that were possible, is this the conversation that's really appropriate to ask? I'm trying to start a relationship here, and and part of my requirements for this relationship is to respect this boundary, and you're asking me if I can consider in the future not. I mean, let's just I don't know, Dad, but let's just assume going forward, no. But also, like, I need you to make me feel like I'm a fucking priority. And you asking me this question just shows me that at the end of the day, you're still worrying about you and how this affects you.
Yeah. And that's, after we spoke, I talked to my counselor and she was just like, your guys' relationship will be a new normal. Like, you got to get over how your guys' relationship was in the past, and you guys are going to have a new norm. Yeah.
We do this thing where it's just like when someone, hurts us or it's like, then we talk about boundaries. Like, I need this boundary or whatever. And I think somewhere in our subconscious, we think that like us having boundaries with people is not loving them enough or not trusting them enough or things like that. And so then we take away the boundaries that we have that we think are protecting ourselves as a way to show them our loyalty and love and trust for them, which just only leads us to more disappointment in the future. So kind of, I think to your counselor's point is when things get good with your dad, that's not a reason to like drop the boundary that got you to the place that you wanted to be, And we weirdly think that, oh, now we're here, we no longer need these boundaries. It's like, no, it's the boundaries that got you to this place.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so true. That's a good point. But yeah, it was a good conversation. I left feeling, I felt great. Amanda, brought up when we first talked about just, letting my friends just, if I need them to support me during difficult times, like to just let them do that. So I reached out to my buddy prior to meeting with him, and I was just like, hey, like, this is what I'm doing. He was great. He was like, yeah, I love you. Like, I support you. If you need anything throughout this, like, I'm always a phone call away. Like, I'm here to support you if you need to just like talk about it or, practice what you're going to say to him. So that was another great piece of advice. So thank you for that.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much for the update. Please continue to update us on any progress when it comes to the relationship of your father. Or anything else. We appreciate it. And congratulations on taking this very big step in your life. And it's just only going to lead to better things.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited for my future. And I definitely think this is going to help me. I think just having this tough conversation is going to benefit me as I start to build my life and get into relationships. And, and I'm excited to be a husband and a father. And I know this experience is definitely going to help me. So thank you guys for all your help and your guidance. And I genuinely appreciate it.
All right, appreciate it as well. All right, thanks, buddy. Anyway, so where are we now?
Things are still going well with my dad. We're still focused on getting to know each other, like not get to know each other, but still kind of, catching up on the time that we made.
Yeah.
Or we lost.
Is he
so
still
we text about once a week.
Dating her?
Yeah, it was, we went to a baseball game in the summer and he showed me photos of, he was talking about his dog and you could clearly see her in the background. And I was like, sick, like didn't really care to see that. So they're still dating, but he is making the conscious effort to stay connected, make me feel like a priority. On my birthday, he texted me happy birthday. I just switched jobs and had a big licensing exam that I was nervous about. And he remembered like the test date, texted me good luck and was there to celebrate with me. So yeah, things have been going well. I did kind of have to check him, a couple weeks ago. I just texted him. I was like, hey, like just trying to meet up with you. Like just want to see you. And he just said, he's back in school and working full time. And he was just like, like I'm busy and all this stuff. And I was like, I get you're busy. I'm also busy too. I work an 8 to 5. I have a life. So it was one of those things where I had to just set that like, hey, I just want to see you. I want you to just make me feel like a priority in your life.
And he's done a decent job of that.
Yeah, no, he definitely, he was like, thank you for communicating that with me. And he manned up. He was like, I'm sorry. Like, and so we saw each other, I think that weekend. And so, yeah, we're still taking the time to just, communicate with one another and meet with each other and just, be in each other's lives.
How's your relationship with mom? If I remember correctly, that was also a bit contentious. She had her own struggles with kind of where she was at in her life and her own happiness, maybe certainly as a result of your dad's decisions and things like that. But how's that going?
Things with mom are going well. After we spoke, our conversation really opened my eyes. And it was one of those things where I was just talking just internally with myself. And I was like, if I can give grace for my dad, I need to give that same grace to my mom. And our parents are imperfect people. And I just kind of thought like our parents are doing life for the first time as well, too. Like they're doing it for the first time too. And they're making mistakes just like I am. So I was like, if I can give dad grace, I need to prioritize giving my mom some grace and just meeting her where she's at.
That's great. Yeah. I love that. I love it. Yeah. So much about, I've learned that so much about like just my personal key to happiness is being able to, I don't know, process disappointment,
Yeah.
And when things happen in my life, I guess good and bad, to recognize that I am not the main character necessarily in everyone else's life, because I feel like the times have been the most miserable is when I felt like, how could this happen to me? And then that was the starting point of how I looked at every situation. And so it's very easy for me to be angry at people, to hold on to my anger, to feel like the victim, to, it was a lot of negative energy. It's just, that's an easy way to get disappointed by just thinking that everyone is on this earth to make your movie, and I think that's our default, as because it is our life, it is our story. And when we see life through our story, and the more often I can kind of get out of that mindset and realize that, like you said, like life has happened to everyone, and everyone we're interacting with is imperfect. And life is really just about finding that balance between like, who do we give second and third chances to, and why? Family, obviously, you're a little bit more motivated to like give them grace because it's family. And you only have one family. And then with certain family members, it's like, hey, they'll always be in your life because they're family and you love them, but you keep maybe them at arm's length because despite them being family, maybe you don't totally trust them or just trust their ability to make healthy decisions for themselves, and everyone in their kind of orbit kind of feels that, and then with friends or partners, it's kind of figuring out, all right, well, you made a mistake, but how accountable are you holding yourself for this mistake? And what are you working on? And what are you trying to do to fix this? And how are you making it safe for me to forgive you, to trust you, and things like that? But, when I was younger, it was just, how could you do this to me? And, when you're starting from that place, it's really hard to get over things, to process things. And then you're just expecting everyone who interacts with you to meet your expectations, to meet your demands, and it's hard not to get super frustrated and super disappointed with people.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly said. And yeah, there was a lot of truth you just said. I think with everything that happened, you were kind of talking about this main character vibe. And I definitely think after everything happened, I definitely, my mindset was like, I took it personal. Like, just you find those ways to take it personal. And I would use that to like motivate me in certain ways. And then it took me a while to be able to take a step back and be like, hey, this happened. It sucked. But, in our first call, like you mentioned, it's going to make me as a parent and as a partner, like it's going to make me not want to do any of those things that my parents have done.
Yeah.
So that was a great lesson that I learned from just speaking with you and just kind of experiencing all of this.
Love that. That's great.
Yeah. And do you have any updates from your own dating life?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick, I got a situation I need your help on.
Is it a situation shit?
If you don't mind.
Yeah, no.
Your
dad doesn't have a crush on her too, does he? Sorry.
No, I know. I made sure. I was like, I'm not telling my dad about this girl because he's gonna Mr. Steal Your Girl part 2. He's gonna run it back. But no, there's a girl met on a dating app. She was a travel nurse here in my hometown. Actually, I used the line from your book. She liked one of my photos, and I was like, hey, I just want to say running into you on here has made my day, and I truly hope you're enjoying yours. And like, she thought that was the sweetest, most clever thing. And I was like, let's go. Like, Nick's helping us guys out. So we started talking in July. It kind of fizzled out. She was, new here to Spokane as a travel nurse, had a hectic schedule. I was, a month removed from a relationship, so not in the best headspace to date. So it fizzled out. We reconnected in October. It was one of those things where I messaged her. I was like, hey, I haven't been able to stop thinking about you. I couldn't live with myself if I didn't get the chance to at least take you out and go on a date with you. So we went out about 3 weeks ago and have been seeing each other for the last 3 weeks. She is leaving, actually left this morning for home and for a new nursing contract back in her hometown, which is on the opposite side of the state where I'm at. So we had the talk last week, and it's left me feeling just kind of a lot of just not a lot of clarity. We both agree that we like each other. We both agree that we want to continue like things as they are, but
what does that mean?
They are is and that's where I was kind of confused. It's like I'm assuming that as things are is the texting, the FaceTiming, but also we're doing distance now. So
she's already moved.
Yeah, she just drove home this morning.
This morning, okay. So you're not together.
I would say the conversation we had, it was we both like each other. We want to keep things going as is and keep pursuing this and seeing where it goes.
But you don't know what as is means.
No, and that's something that's created a lot of anxiety for me because I'm like, I just need a kind of a game plan of what's going on, or how can we better stay connected.
You've been dating for 3 weeks?
Yeah, 3 weeks. Yeah,
super new. How many dates did you go on?
We've been on about 7 or 8 dates.
Have you hooked up?
She's a virgin, so I really wanted to respect that, but we did fool around and do other things.
How old is she?
She's 26 and I'm 25.
Okay. And is her virginity like religious purposes?
No, it's just she hasn't found somebody that she thinks is worth it yet.
Okay. Well, those ones are bugaboos. If it's not religious reasons, that means they are really, they got some, I don't know. Well, they certainly have some ideas around what sex should be, and they have a lot of expectations. I'm not trying to suggest if you're a 26-year-old virgin, there's something wrong with you at all.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're at this day and age, 26-year-old virgin, and you just are a virgin because you haven't found someone that you've decided is worthy of having sex with you, then you have some pretty intense, I guess, personal boundaries around who's, sex. Mm-hmm. And I would just it'd be important for you to find out what those are,
Yeah.
So just kind of take it slow with her. I don't know.
Yeah.
Across the board, let's forget that she's a virgin for now, because I kind of went off, But it sounds like that you're interested in getting to know her more, that you like her.
Yeah, and I communicated that.
I'm getting the sense that if she was like, hey, I don't know where this is going, but I really just want to focus on you and I don't want to date anyone else, that you would like her to say that and you would agree to stop dating anyone else for the time being while you two focus on getting to know each other?
Yeah.
So why don't you just tell her that?
I did. So when we had just the talk of what this is, I told her, I was like, I'm really interested in you. I want to keep getting to know you and know more about you and who make why you're the way you are and all that stuff. And I was like, I don't plan on seeing anybody else. And I think she struggles with communicating that, how she feels. And she just kind of, just like, yeah, I'm in the same boat. And just kind of kept saying, yeah, I'm in the same boat or I definitely think we're on the same page. So that was frustrating for me. Because I just I'm communicating, I'm being vulnerable, I'm expressing what I want, but I'm getting not as much in return.
But she did say she's in the same boat.
Yeah.
So if you found out she went on a date with another guy 3 weeks from now, do you feel like you have the right to be frustrated or upset with her? And would you?
I believe so.
And would you feel comfortable saying, "Hey, I'm just a little confused. I thought we weren't dating other people."
Yeah, I believe so. Just from the conversation we had, and last week I met her sister, and I to me, if I were to introduce somebody to my sibling, I think that means a lot. So I wouldn't take that.
Yeah, but it might not mean a lot to her. So who knows? Here, if I were you, I would just stop thinking about her actions and do what feels right. Whatever you want to do with her, in terms of reaching out, communicating, but pay attention the next 2 weeks how she responds to how you communicate with her. To take inventory of the fact that I guess it was me kind of reaching out every fucking time. Or does she reach out to you? Does she check in with you? Does she make you feel like she misses you? Doesn't sound like she's moving that far away.
No, she's moving, to the opposite side of the state. And then
how far of a drive is that?
It'd be about a 4.5 hour drive, depending on the weather.
Not terrible, but clearly if you guys were interested in each other, that in a couple of weeks, one person can drive to see the other person. Maybe she moved. Maybe you could drive to see her. I'd love to come see you. See what she says. Like, you're going to find out pretty quickly if she is excited about getting to know you better. And right now, that's the thing. It's like she's agreed to everything you've said, but you have no idea if she's excited about it. And it sounds like you don't feel her excitement. And so don't get more than you're receiving, but for the short period of time, just do what you want in terms of how you think you should prioritize getting to know her. And don't kind of overthink, well, is she doing this? And in like 2 weeks from now, check in with yourself, review the text messages, think about your conversations, and kind of ask yourself, am I showing way more enthusiasm about getting to know her than she's making me feel about getting to know me? And if you're still confused, maybe pull back a little bit. Just say, hey, I'm just kind of getting the sense that maybe you're not, as into this as I am. And maybe you could just say something like that. Just slowly pull back. Don't reach out to her as much. Maybe then she'll pick it up, But you have to let her do her part. And because she's not a bad communicator and you're a good communicator, you can't over communicate for the both of you and give her the opportunity to kind of giving you these one-word answers. You have to require more from her, because communication, big part of every relationship. So before you jump into a relationship, like people will say like, oh, well, they're just a bad communicator, as if that's some sort of acceptable
condition, like an affliction
that
people have.
This is whatever. But they don't have to work on it. It's just who they are. Like they're bad at closing cupboard doors. You can date someone who doesn't close cupboard doors. You can't date someone who doesn't communicate with you. And you constantly feel confused. So you overtalk and they just kind of give you these one-word answers where you don't know if they're actually agreeing with you or they're just being agreeable. So
that's valid. That's valid. That's great advice.
For the next 2 weeks, just do your thing. And then take inventory about what did that look like? How did that make you feel? Do you feel like you're getting the same effort that you're putting in? And then either communicate that or just pull back.
Yeah. And I'll be seeing her in 3 weeks. I'm going over kind of to her area for a basketball game. So I told her, I was like, hey, I'm coming over. Like, if you want to meet up, I would love to take you out to dinner and get to see you and kind of and maybe.
But if I were you right now, maybe in the next couple of days, just get busy doing other things. Be busy.
Okay.
Give her the impression that you're busy. Yeah, you're sad, but like, don't give her the impression that you're sitting there waiting around. Like, don't, freak her out. Maybe she moves at a slower pace than you move. And it has only been 3 weeks. And sometimes people can, like, if she's moving a little slower and you move faster and you're more sure than she is, that like maybe your intensity could scare her off. So you're not going to figure out whether she's your person in the next 2 weeks. There's nothing you can do about her moving. You're going to talk. Let her maybe do some reaching out. Stay busy, act busy, communicate that you are busy. Don't be a dick and don't be confusing, but just don't be fucking texting her throughout the day. And don't freak out because she's not texting you back. And don't like analyze every interaction in real time. Just chill out for 2 weeks, check in, and then see how you feel then.
Yeah, I can do that. And I think when I see her here in 3 weeks, I think I can also do a check-in of like, how I know on your podcast, you've been talking about like how you physically feel, being with people, and just do that.
If in 3 weeks when you're about to go see her, you feel like this weekend's about getting a lot of clarity, then that should tell you something.
Yeah.
Or hopefully it's more like, hey, we're going to have a lot of fun and we'll get to know each other this weekend. But I'm just excited to see you and you feel like she's excited to see you. Before you go see her, like the day before, like, how do I feel about this whole thing? But don't analyze it every goddamn day between now and then.
Yeah, no, I'm already starting to do that. And I'm already like, fuck this. Like, I'm already thinking about like, I won't see her for 3 months or when she starts her new nursing contract, and I'm just driving myself crazy.
All you know is that you met a nice girl who's a virgin. You don't really know why, and you've had a couple nice dates. You fool around a little bit. So much you don't know about this person. There is no reason to become obsessed or head over heels or think that you lost out on something great if it doesn't work out.
Definitely. Yeah, that's perfectly said. And I needed to hear that. So thank you for that.
No problem. All right, man. Well, really appreciate the update. Would love to know how things play out with her. So keep us posted.
Yeah, no, I'm very invested. Yeah, I'm very invested in her, and I'm going to take your advice and run with it. And yeah, hopefully things go well and things go in my favor. But yeah, thank you for everything, and I appreciate your guys' time.
Anytime, bud.
Absolutely. Congratulations on the kid, and happy holidays to you guys.
Thank you, and happy holidays to you.
Thank you, guys.
All
Take
right,
care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Well, thank you for listening, everybody. Hope you enjoyed those updates. We appreciate giving them to you. Don't forget to send in those questions at asknick@theviallfiles.com. And if you've ever been on our show and you have an update to share, please write us in and let us know. As always, there's so many more updates available to you behind Viall Files Plus. So if you're itching for more after hearing these updates, go to viallfiles.com, subscribe. It's free to sign up. You get a 7-day free trial. Now is as good a time as any. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back on Monday. Bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.